Uh, Shalom. Bear with me, I'll be right back. Let me set up my voice recorder as well. Shalom, shalom, shalom to the Israelites, shalom to the so-called blacks, Latino and Native Indians, scattered throughout the far corner of this earth, shalom. First and foremost, we give all honor, glory, power unto the Most High, the living God Yahweh, to His only begotten Son, Yahushua Mashiach. Shalom, shalom. Shalom. Shalom, shalom. All praises, glory, power unto the Most High, the living God Yahweh, to His only Son, Yahushua Mashiach. Shalom. To the Israelites, shalom. To the so-called blacks, Latino, and Native Indian. Shalom to the diaspora, the Nigerian, the Beninese, the Togolese, scattered throughout the far corner of this earth, with the people of the Bible, the Brazilian, according to your father, number 118, keep in mind. This is the brother Frankie, or Gontran for some of you. All right, shalom. And I'll say happy day of, I'll say Nicanor ending, and you got a day of Mardochee, which is what? Purim, or the Purim, okay? So we're going to address that, we're going to go into that, right? So without any further ado, I'm going to go in my Zondervan Bible Dictionary. Zondervan Bible Dictionary. All right. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to go on the page 483. So I'm going to read. So, because the word Purim originally came from the word Pur. So let's go over there. Let's go to the book of Esther. We'll go to Esther from the beginning. Right. Let's go to Esther. We'll go to Esther chapter 3. Right. Let's go to Esther chapter 3. That's where we're going to start from. Right. Let's go to the book of Esther, chapter 3. Right. We're going to read from there, and then we're going to keep on moving. Okay. We're going to go a little bit. It will be a long lesson. So be patient and bear with me. Okay. Shalom to all the camps, all the brother out there doing the work of the Most High. Some brother already started a couple of days ago, you know. It's all beautiful. Israel, we always got different days to do the things. Right. Till the kingdom be established, and everything will be set in order, right? Everything be set in order. Shalom, shalom, shalom. So let's go right here. So we got to understand what is the meaning of the word Purim. So let's go right here quicker. So I'm in the book of Esther, right? Shalom, 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 family, shalom, all praise to the Most High. So we are in the book of Esther, chapter 3, and we're going to read from verse 7. Okay, Esther chapter 3 and verse 7. In the first month, that is the month Nisan, in the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, they cast Pur. So they cast the Pur, that means they cast the lot. So keep in mind. So at this time, this is the captivity of the Israelites with the Mid-Persian, okay? Those that we call today the Iranian, okay? Mid-Persian, the Iranian, and the East Indian, something like that, right? So let's keep in mind. You say, that is the lot. So they cast Pur. Pur just means lot, right? Before Haman, from day to day and from month to month, to the 12th month, that is the month Adar. So they were casting lot, okay? Day to day, right? And from month to month, to the 12th month. So, you know, till they went into the 12th month. So the 12th month is the month Adar. You say to the 12th month, that is the month Adar. So let's keep that in mind. Right? Let's keep that in mind. So I'm going to go right here. Zondervan Bible Dictionary. Right? Zondervan Bible Dictionary. As you can see, right? As you can see, right? So keep in mind. Let's read it. This is Zondervan Bible Dictionary, page 483. Pur, you say lot. A Jewish festival celebrated on the 14th and 15th of the month Adar, March, April. That's written right there. Okay? So this feast is kept on what? The feast is kept on the 12th month, the 14th day and the 15th. So keep in mind, a day is sundown to sundown. So the feast starts from the 14th sundown, okay? So for 14 sundown to what? Shalom, 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 king. So 14 sundown to 15 sundown, and 15 sundown to 16 sundown. So keep in mind, okay? So keep in mind. So it's 2 days, but a day is defined as sundown to sundown. Sundown to sundown. So keep in mind. So you say, commemorating the deliverance of the Hebrew, of the Jew, okay, of the Hebrew from the plot of the wicked Haman in the post-Exilic period. Okay, so let's go to the book of Esther, chapter, I already read. So the meaning of the word per, it means lot. So lot means also per. So let's keep that in mind. Let's go right here in Esther. We'll go to chapter 10. Okay. Let's go, chapter 9, excuse me. Okay. So we're going to read it. Right. So let's keep in mind. So we're going to read from right here. We're right here in the book of Esther, chapter 9. Let's keep in mind, because we got to understand the history, right? So when we celebrating the feast, some day in the Bible, we got to understand what is the meaning. What is the history? We got to understand. We can't just celebrate to celebrate. Let's go over there. So Esther chapter 9. So I'm going to speed up from verses 1 a little bit. And when I go to the point I want to make, so I'm going to take more time right there. So I'm going to just read it. I'm going to speed up. So if you're having trouble, follow me, you can read on your own later on, right? But for the meanwhile, let's go. So Esther chapter 9 verses 1. It said, now in the month, that is the month Adar. So we're in the 12th month right now. We're in the 12th month. Based on the moon. Okay, today when the sun goes down, raw. So the 14th day will be starting. So yesterday, sundown, today sundown is the 13th day. The month of Adar, of the 12th month. Okay? 12th month of the month Adar. So yesterday we kept, from yesterday sundown to today sundown, we're keeping the day of Nicanor. That vile heathen called Nicanor. That was coming to slaughter our forefather. Okay? He was coming to slaughter our forefather, Nicanor. So he was put to death. The Most High destroyed him. So let's keep in mind, then from the 14 sundown to 15 sundown, and 15 sundown to 16 sundown, we're keeping what? The day of Mardochee and Purim. So let's keep the 12th month. We're in the 12th month. March, February and March. February, March. You see, on the 13th day, okay, the 13th day, okay, the 13th day of the same, when the king's commandment and his decree drew nigh to be put in execution, in the day that the enemy of the Jews, so we always have enemy, it's just that today, because of the lie, the strong wine of Babylon the Great, the strong wine of this Edomite that have mixed and mingled with all the nation, the lie, the thing that they have been pushing forth throughout the TV, television, tell a lie on all these things. What is happening? They're using it to deceive our people, so our people don't understand we have enemy. We always going to have enemy until Yahweh shall return. Our enemy are the other nation. So that's why the prophecy was given to our forefather David, the king and prophet David. The prophecy was given unto David. It was given to Zechariah, the father of John the Baptist. It was given to most of the prophet. Right? So let's keep that in mind. We always have war enemies. It's just that today we're being put in a docile state. We're in a docile state. We've been on the Stockholm syndrome. We've been pacified and we don't understand that. Right? So let's keep on reading. You say, the day that the enemy of the Jew hoped to have power over them, though it was turned to the contrary, that the Jew had ruled over them that hated them. So the Most High flipped over. So they're plotting things against us. The same thing's happening today. This Edomite, okay, this heathen, all these nations, they're plotting things against the so-called blacks, Latino, and Native. Every day they're plotting, they're passing law, they're bringing like wicked decree against the children of the Most High. Right? It's nothing new under the sun. When we go in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1, 9 all the way down to 11 or 12, it's nothing new under the sun. They've done in the past, and they're always going to do it. Okay, so let's continue. You say, verses 2. So Esther 9 and 2. The Jews gathered themselves together in the city throughout all the province of the king Ahasuerus to lay hand on such as sought to hurt them. So those that were plotting to kill them, what did they do? They understand. They came together. They agree. They were not fighting. Oh, I belong to this camp. I belong to that. Oh, blah, blah, blah. My doctrine is the best. They were not doing that. They came together. Unified. They understood that they have enemies. Brother and sister, let us understand that. Right? Let us understand that we got to come together. Not fight each other, stab each other, accusing, slandering each other. Why? Why we do that? What is the point? What are we gaining? What are we gaining from it? I'm better than him. You know, my camp is better. I got the best doctrine. If it's not from me, then no, man. It's all about Yahweh Shah Mashiach. It's not about me. I am nobody. Okay? Understand that? I am nobody. Okay? I'm just a servant for my nation. I'm just a servant for my nation. Who am I? I'm nobody. I don't have power over anything. Who has power over all things? Is the Most High Yahweh. He has power over all things. So, brother, let us come together and unify. We may have different, understanding of the precept, scripture, but overall, we're fighting for Yahweh Shah Mashiach. We're working for our Lord and Savior Yahweh Shah Mashiach. So, there's no need to fight and we, slandering one another. We don't do. Let us not do that, please. Let us not do that. Okay? Let us humble ourselves. He said, the Jews gathered themselves together in their city. They were living in a different city, like we live in different cities. Some brother live in New York. Some brother living in Chicago. Some brother live in Miami. Some brother live in Texas. Some brother live in Indianapolis. Some brother live in Maryland. Some brother lives in DC. Some brother live in Virginia. Some brother live in Paris. Some brother live in Germany. Some brother live in Nigeria. Some brother live in Ghana. Some brother live in Benin. Some brother live in China. Some brother live. Listen, the list goes on and on. Understand that. You say what? The Jew gathered themselves together in that city. So whatsoever the city, the Jew, they came together. They remembered that they one nation, they one people. They were not fighting. One nation, one people, they came together. Okay? Throughout all the provinces of the king, Asa, to lay hand on search, I saw to hurt them. You see that? To hurt. And no man could withstand them, for the fear of them fell upon all people. You see, when we keep in the commandment, that's what is going to start happening. The more we unify, we come together as a nation. And we pray and we call upon the Most High. Not faking, not being hypocrite. We're keeping the law, the commandment of the Most. We call on the Most. Guess what? The Most High is going to move our fear upon all these heathen. Whether it be the president, whether it be Democrat, whether it be Republican, whether it be the Prime Minister, whether it be the child. Listen, the Most High will move our fear upon them. They be scared. Isn't this beautiful? But this brother, they unite. They unify. They didn't fight each other, blah, 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 this, no. Come on, don't do that, man. This is not the time to fight. Zephaniah, man, chapter 2, verse 1. Gather together, O nation of desire, before the decree bring forth. You see, that's what these people did, our forefather. These were so-called Negro. These were so-called African American. Where? In the kingdom of the Mid-Persian. The Mid-Persian, the Iranian. They were not scared. No. They were not running Black Lives Matter, marching, protesting. No, they came together. They came together as unity, as one nation. Okay, let's continue. It said, for the fear of them fell upon all people, and all the rulers of the provinces, and the lieutenants, and the deputies, and officers of the king helped the Jews. You see, all, because the Moses moved the spirit, and they were scared to death. Listen, we got to help them. We're about to die now because the God is with them. You see, that's what we tell the people. They were scared. They said, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Listen, leave them alone. Hey, the God is about to kill us. Listen, let us help them. Let us help them. You see that? That's the spirit we need. Ain't no marching, protesting, being a cone seller right there, taking money, being a Democrat, Republican. None of those garbage. You okay? Understand that. Okay? Understand that. Okay? Understand that, right? Understand that. You see what I'm saying? That's what we're going to understand. He said, and all the rulers of the provinces and the lieutenant and the deputy and officer, yeah, your police officer, okay? Your police officer, right? Shalom, shalom, king. Shalom, Carlos, shalom, right? He said, your police, officer, deputy, you name it, of the king helped the Jew because the fear of Mardochee fell upon them. So Mardochee was a so-called African American. He was a so-called Negro. He was somebody you call today, African American, somebody you call a so-called black, a Nigerian, Beninese, a Brazilian Negro, a Brazilian, native, same like that, right? He said, for Mardochee was great in the king's house, and his fame went out throughout all the provinces. For this man Mardochee was greater and greater. Why? Because he trusts in the Most High. Mardochee, he trusts in the living God Yahweh. Jeremiah chapter 17. Read it, brother and sister. Please read it. He trusts in the living God Yahweh. Okay? So the Most High uplift him. He didn't want to beg. He was not like a sucker. He was not like a vile person. He didn't sell out. No. He trusts in the Most High, and the Most High uplift him. That's what we need. Let's continue. He said, thus the Jews smote all the enemy with the stroke of the sword. So imagine, literally put them to death. Why? Because they can't do a damn thing. So guess what? If we keep the commandment, we're righteous, and we put it together, and we stop biting one another, and we come as a nation, guess what? The Most High moved the spirit upon all these heathen here in Babylon, in Europe, in Canada, in Latin America, in the Caribbean. Listen, and all our enemy, all our oppressors, they be in fear for their life. Listen, when they see you, then when we come out, they be scared. They can have all the type of guns. Get what? They be scared to death. Why? Because they know, listen, man, we can't mess with them. You see that? Let me read it again. He said, that's the Jews. So this Negro that were living back in those African American, Nigerian, Beninese, Ivory Coast, Senegalese, Ghanaian, Sierra Leonese, Liberian, and the list goes on and on. He said what? He said, smote all the enemy with the stroke of the sword. You see that? And slaughter and destruction. And did what they would unto those that hate them. So you see, you got enemy, man. So why we don't understand? You see, these people, our forefather back in this day, back in those days, or in the time of the kingdom of the Mid-Persian, they understood. So let's continue. He said, and in Shushan, the palace, the Jews slew and destroyed 500 men. So imagine that, okay? Keep in mind. And Parshandata, and Dalphon, and Aspata, and Porata, and Adalia, and Aridata, and Parmashta, and Arisei, and Arideh, and Varizata, the 10 sons of Haman, the son of Hamadata, the enemy of the Jews, slew they. So all these heathen, they were put to death. They were our enemy. So why we don't understand today? You say, he said, slew them, but on the spoil laid they not the hand. They didn't take anything from them. They don't want anything. Okay, let's continue. On that day, the number of those that were slain in Shushan, the palace, was brought before the king. Okay, the king was aware. The Moses let him know. Hey, listen, let him know. This is how much my people kill. What you going to do? You want to call the 911? You want to call the FBI? You want to call the CIA, the SWAT team? Listen, let us keep the commandment, brother and sister. That's what we got to do. Let us keep the commandment and call on to the Most High. Let us cry unto the Most High. That's what we got to do. Let's continue verse 12. Esther 9 and 12. And the king said unto Esther, the queen. Now understand, in our kingdom, we don't have no queen, okay? There is no queen in our kingdom. We got princesses. The man is the one. The man has the power. So the power of the man is not equal to the woman. So the feminine word of king does not exist, okay? King is not equal to queen. Understand that, okay? Because in the kingdom, we never have queen. We have who? We have kings and princesses. We got prince and princesses because the woman is not above the man, but the man is above the woman. Just understand that, okay? You go to 1 Corinthians chapter 11, Paul, he addressed that thing. So nothing new under the sun, same thing. So let's keep on. Let's keep that in mind. So because they were dealing with the heathen, that's why the heathen called them queen. Because the Egyptian, they have queen. Okay, they have queen. The Ethiopian, they have queen. Okay, now you got wicked of our forefathers, some of our forefathers that set themselves up to be what? Queen. And what happened? The Most High cut them off. They were destroyed. They were destroyed. So you can't do that. Okay, that's going against the Most High. Okay, he said, and the king said unto Esther, the queen, the Jews have slain and destroyed 500 men in Shushan the palace, and the 10 sons of Haman. What have they done in the rest of the king's provinces? So you want to know what did they do? So they killed 500 men in Shushan. So the king said, what happened to them? And they killed the 10 sons of that wicked enemy called Haman, right? Of our forefather, right? Let's continue to say. Now, what is that petition? It shall be granted thee. So the Moses moved the spirit upon the king. The king called Esther. Esther, the prophetess, right? The Mosai moved the spirit upon the king. He called her sister. She said, listen, man, what do you want me to do for you, man? That's why 500 down there in Shushan. What do you want me to do? You see, when you're righteous and you keep the commandment of the Mosai will put you at peace with your enemy. You see that? That's what we don't understand. Because you move your fear upon every one of them. And they be scared. Just seeing you on the street, they be scared. The police can see you and run over. He'll take his car and go crash in the wood. Why? Because he's scared to death. Even though he got a gun, he won't be able to pull the gun. He can't do anything. Why? Because the Mosai is moving the spirit. But that's only happening when you trust in the Mosai and you believe in the living God, Yahweh, man. You got to believe in him with your full heart, your full mind. That's how it's got to be. You see that? So even, look, the Mosai put us at peace with war. This wicked Pharaoh called Joe Biden or the wicked Pharaoh called Donald Trump. Yeah, and they can do anything. They can do anything. Nothing they won't be able to do. Why? Because the Mosai moving the spirit, they be scared to death. But we don't understand the power of our God. We don't understand. We don't understand we holy people, set apart nation. All we got to do is obey the Mosai. Okay, let us keep the commandment. You see what I'm saying? That's what we got to do. Okay, bear with me. Okay, that's what we got to do. That's all we got to do. You see this? This is beautiful, right? This is a righteous sister. Let's see. Now, what is that petition? It shall be granted thee. Or what is that request further? It shall be done. So the king said, I'll do it. The king said, I'll do it. Then said Esther, if it please the king, let it be granted to the Jews which are in Shushan to do tomorrow also according unto this day decree. And let Haman's 10 sons be hanged upon the gallows. So he said, listen, man, I want this wicked guy called Haman, the Hagagite or whatsoever he was from. He said, listen, I want him to get hanged and I want his 10 sons to be put to death. Because understand this. Because if you kill only the father, the son, they'll grow up and they're going to avenge. So what happened? You kill the father and you kill the children too. Let's read it. That's why the Mosai gave that spirit to Esther. And Esther was a righteous woman. She understood. Today we got a lot of men that don't even understand that. They don't understand that. They got a spirit or soul. Right? Back in those days. Right? Let's see what he said. He said, let's see. He said, well, then said Esther, if it please the king, let it be granted to the Jews which are in Shushan to do tomorrow also according unto this day's decree, and let Haman's 10 sons be hanged upon the gallows. You see that? And the king commanded it, so to be done. All praise to the Most High Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, Hashem, Rakakadash, man. Amen, hallelujah. Our God is mighty, man. Let us understand that. You don't need to go to a man and beg. No. This sister, he said, if he please, because you already know that the Moses is the one that is over all things. So that's why the sister say, well, if it please the king, let it be granted to the Jew. You see the way she spoke? Righteously, right? She didn't go off. She didn't brag, no. Because she relied on the Most High. She trusts in the living God, Yahweh. Let's continue. He said, and the king commanded it so be done. And the decree was given at Shushan, and there hanged Haman's 10 sons. You see, all praise to the Most High. For the Jews that were in Shushan gathered themselves together on the 14th day also of the month Adar. We in the month Adar, the 12th month. And slew 300 men at Shushan on the 14th day. They killed again what? So they start from the 13th day. The 13th day they killed 500 something. And that violent, wicked Haman. And on the 14th day, they went outside again and killed again 300 people. Okay, men at Shushan. But on the prey, they laid not a hand. They didn't touch none of their belonging. Because usually when we go for a war, right, we take everything for Buddha. You take it back. Sometimes the Moses say, don't touch it because it's vile. It's filthy, nasty. Don't take it. And that's what Saul he did. The Moses told, don't take their spoil. Don't take. No Buddha, but leave everything over there. It's nasty, filthy. I'm going to destroy it. And he took it and hide it. You see? So we got to keep that in mind. We got to listen to that, said the Most High. He said, but the other Jews that were in the king's province gathered themselves together and stood for their life. So they say, you know what? Our brother in Shushan, they stand for their own self. Listen, we'll do the same thing. You see? They stood for their lives and had rest from the enemy. So they say, you know what? We see any of these heathen that hate us, we'll slaughter them. We'll cut them off. The Most High will deliver them into our hand and we'll cut them off. Right? Let's continue. He said, and had rest from the enemy. Right? And slew of the foes 70 and 5,000. Imagine that. 70 and 5. So they killed 5,070. Understand that? They killed them. Right? He says 70 and 5,000. But they lay not the hand on their prey. They don't want anything from them. They don't want the gold. They don't want the silver. They say, we don't need that. But they make sure they put them to death because they don't need their belonging. The Most High bless them anyway. They understand that. We don't want to take your filthy, nasty thing. We don't need that. Right? Let's continue. On the 13th day of the month Adar, and on the 14th day of the same rested the day. And they made a feasting in gladness. So on the 13th and on the 14th. Okay, so you got 13 and already 2 days. Let's continue. But the Jews that were at Shushan assembled together on the 13th day thereof, and on the 14th day thereof, and on the 15th day of the same, they rested. So 3 days. The Jews that were at Shushan, they celebrate the 13th. That means what? 12, probably, I'll say 13 sundown to 14 sundown, and 14 sundown to 15 sundown. 15 sundown to what? 16 sundown. So keep in mind. Right? So he say, and made it a day of feasting and gladness. Therefore, the Jews of the village, so because the way they were living in Iran and all the provinces. Because if you read this in the beginning, right, how many provinces this guy was ruling over? I'm going to read it to you quick and you can understand it. Right? I'm going to read it quick and you understand. So I'm going to go right here in Esther. Okay, Esther, let me read right here. I'm going to read it. Because he has over, like, is super huge. Okay, so keep in mind. So this is the book of Esther. Let's read verses 1. It says, Esther 1 and 1. Now it came to pass in the day of Ahasuerus. Okay, this is Ahasuerus, which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia, over 120 provinces. Whoa! Wow, more bigger than the United States of America. It's huge. So this guy, okay, this heathen, the Most High gave him ruling, right? After who? We let us understand. These people that came to power after the Babylonians were destroyed, after Nebuchadnezzar. Okay, so keep in mind. So the Most High gave the might unto who? To the Mede-Persian. They took over, right? So he ruled from where? He reigned from India. So India, East India, okay? Understand what is East India? From East India all the way down to Africa, to Ethiopia. Imagine that, okay? That's what we call ruling power. This way, king. And what, how many? Over 120 provinces. Imagine that, okay? 127 region. Imagine, this is mighty. It's mighty. It's nothing to compare to all this baby kingdom. You see, they're bragging because they got nuclear bomb. These people ain't got no nuclear bomb back in those days, and the Most High gave them the whole earth. They were over the whole earth from East India, today East India, all the way down to Africa, Ethiopia, which is Northeast Africa. Imagine that. You see, so it was a big kingdom, right? It was a big kingdom. So let's go back right here. So understand, he was ruling almost the whole world, the whole earth was under the Mede-Persian back in those days. The Iranian and the East Indian. So understand that. This is serious, right? So let's read verses 19. So Esther 9 and 19. Therefore the Jews of the villages, right, that dwell in the unwalled towns, made the 14th day of the month Adar a day of gladness. So those are in the village, okay, of gladness and feasting. So they cook some lamb, some cow, you know, he goat, she goat, turkey, chicken, you know, guinea fowl, fish, you know, whatsoever the Most High allowed them. Watch this. Feasting in a good day, and of sending portion one to another. So that same portion, like, you know, I've seen my dad do that, right? When I was back in West Africa, usually, so when my dad used to keep this pagan day, any feast that come, my dad, what he does, like, when he killed the goat, okay, he'll take the leg and send it to this friend. He'll send this leg to that person. He send this arm to this. You know, he'll slaughter so many, right? So he sent it with whiskey, maybe with some beer. You know, he sent it out maybe to 10 different people. My dad, he does it. But I did not know this was also the spirit of our forefather. No, understand, because I was also in the darkness back in those days. I was young. I just saw my dad doing all those things. My dad, all the time, he slaughtered something, he'll cut the meat, he'll send some to these places, he'll send some to my mom's family, okay, to my mom's father and his mother. He'll send this to my brother, his sharing, straight up. And that was good spirit, man, good spirit. I don't see that here in the Western world. Our people don't have that spirit. We don't have that spirit today. But I witness it from my parent, the share it. He'll kill 3 goats or 5 goats or whatsoever. He cut this leg good and share it. Right, was doing a lot of alms. So let's keep that in mind. So we jump to verse 20 now. And Mardochee wrote this thing and sent letter unto all the Jews that were in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus, both night and far. So to all the Jews. He didn't segregate. He didn't say, oh, you belong to this camp. Oh, you belong to this enough for you. No, all the Jews. Okay? All the Jews. We one nation, one church, one congregation, one race, one people. Understand that, okay? He said, to establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month Adar and the 15th day of the same yearly. You see, yearly. They got to keep it, the 14th and the 15th. So the 14th is starting today when the sun goes down. When the sun goes down today is the end of what? The day of that vile Nicanor. I just made a live video with it, about it, a live lesson on that, on the day of Nicanor. You can check it out. And then the Moses is saying, you know, after that to who? To Esther and to Mardochee, that was the 14th and the 15th. We got to keep those days too. Let's continue to say what? He said that they should keep the 14th day of the month Adar and the 15th day of the same yearly, every year, right? As the day wherein the Jews rested from their enemies, so we got rest from our enemy. They're trying to kill us as today. What do they use? Abortion, GMO, you know, all this processed food, you know, pork, you know, all this wickedness thing, you know, drugs, you know, guns, violences, you know, wickedness, right? And the month which was turned unto them from sorrow to joy. So the 12th month was turned from sorrow unto joy, into gladness, unto happiness, right? And from mourning into a good day, that they should make them days of feasting and joy, and of sending portion one to another, and give to the poor. They help the poor. And the Jews undertook to do as they had begun, and as Mardochee had written unto them, because Haman, the son of